We started the Arizona Leukemia Foundation back in 1972 because I was working at St. Joseph's Hospital in our pediatric department and saw many of these children coming in. And in 72, there wasn't a whole lot that we could do for these children. Many of them died. In fact, most of them died eventually. And it was just very sad to see, because the family was so affected by this ill child that needed such wonderful care. There were many things like, for instance, they didn't have enough money to pay their utility bill for this month, or maybe they just couldn't pay their rent this month. Different things like that popped up. And on investigation, there was nobody in town or anyone or any agency that could help them. So we kind of tried to investigate a little, and the Cancer Society would give a little money for mileage. Well, that isn't going to help somebody pay their utility bill. So eventually we went to find out about the Leukemia Society, if they were ever going to come to Arizona. They were in California at the time, and we checked with them, and they said no, they had no plans to come here. And so we said, fine, we will make our own plans and see what we can do to help these families. So we began by asking the mothers of the children who were in the hospital to take a little chair and sit by the cafeteria at the hospital and tell their story to the different people that came by, asking if they would donate blood. Now in those days, blood donations would get you some money. And so we were able to get some money in order to begin the foundation. We met an attorney who was a wonderful gentleman who heard our story. In fact, we told the story of the children so that he would understand what we were trying to do, and asked if he would start the corporation. And he kind of hemmed and hawed at first, and he said, you know, that takes money. And I said, yes, but there are other ways. So 2 weeks later, he called, and the foundation was totally established. It was incorporated, ready to go. And we soon found a wonderful accountant who agreed to be our treasurer after we twisted his arm with a few of our stories. He agreed to be on our board, and that's how we built our board in those early days. How we raised money was garage sales. That's a lot of work for anyone who has never done it. It's big time. We had also a few little dinner parties and that, but none of us were really great at fundraising, but we did the best we could. All of the people are volunteers, and that's one of the criteria, that all of the money raised must stay in Arizona. It's only fair that people who donate that money should have the use of it. Children age 21 or under. There's other organizations that help adults, and so we decided to focus on children because that's what really kind of touched our hearts. For instance, you know, the administrative costs are nil. We don't have any offices or anything like that. We operate out of different people's homes or a loaning office or whatever, but we don't pay for our things. In fact, in our early days, there was another organization that had come to town, and they were kind of our competitors, and we kept saying that we have no administrative costs, and they wanted to meet with us at a restaurant. And so they came to the restaurant, and we came with our bag lunch because our administrative costs are nil. I think the other thing that is really important is that we care for the families instantly. They don't have to wait for months to get some help. We're there for them. Basically, those are the big things that started us off in the early days. Now, things have really changed in some respects in that there has been a great advance in the care of these children with leukemia, but it's not a cure. At this present time, about 60 families a year. That's a lot of families, and that's a lot of great great things to be able to do. The needs haven't changed at all. The parents and the family, they all have the same needs as they did years ago. But we're not seeing the terrible devastation as we used to see. One of the, I kind of call him my first love. His name was Jackie, and they lived in Superior. There was another little girl, his sister, and so his parents could not be here all the time. And especially his mother, that was a very difficult thing for her to have to leave her little boy who was so critically ill in the hospital. So in the evening, I used to go over to the hospital and to hold him in the rocking chair, and we would talk and have a great time. And then I would say, okay, Jackie, it's time for bed. I put him in his bed, and he'd grab my hand, take my watch off, and put it under his pillow. I said, why did you do that? So you'll come back the next day. And then there was Jimmy. Jimmy was a sweet little boy. He was 7 years old, and his father never came to see him during the times that he was in the hospital until that last day when he was dying, when his father came finally. And then there was Alan, a young adolescent boy whose father had died several years ago, and his mother was an alcoholic. Alan's fear was who was going to take care of his mother when he was gone. And there was Terry, a little girl who lived in a nudist colony in New River. She had made out her will. She asked to be cremated, and she said to me, I'll meet you at the gate. Those were the inspirations that just tore at my heart and made it possible for us to start the foundation. Stories like that are never ending. The story is a wonderful story because when you see the face of children at Christmas time who've received gifts that we've been able to give them, those are wonderful things that happen. And not all agencies are into things like that. Keeping the family together, whatever it takes, whether it's buying a wig for a child or whether it's giving them a happy Christmas or whatever it is, that's what we do. And I think that by participating in our organization, you're participating in this family event. My vision is that this will grow and grow and grow and be able to serve all of the children that come to us for all the care for their families, and to really be able to keep that goal that we had in mind of serving the families and keeping them together. It has grown. You know what I was thinking when you say 1972, that's a long time ago, and it's still going. You know, when we first started, it was so difficult and we weren't sure that we were going to be able to keep it going, but it's been going, and I know it will grow more because of the wonderful people who volunteer their services to keep it going and to have that ability to give the money to the families that need it. No other organization does things the way we do. They do not give to put a father in an alcoholic program. They do not pay rent and do the things that will make that family stay together and to be able to take care of this catastrophic illness. Most of the agencies that do help, they have very strict regards, such as maybe they'll give so much money for mileage or just do different things like that. But the family has to go through a lot in order to get anything. There's all kinds of forms and waiting and trying to figure out. The other thing that's so important is that if you're raising money, the donation should go for the purpose in which you're raising the money and not given to some other city or some other area. We have people at the different hospitals, such as social workers and things, that can give referrals to us. If they find a family that has a need, then they contact the foundation. Great things that we do. We have a library down in Tucson, and that's for books for these children. We also have a massage place for them, so they can have a massage. And we have a petty cash, just in case something comes up that there's a need that we haven't thought of before. Also, we needed the publicity. We wanted people to know who we were. So in the 70s, there was a weatherman at Channel 12. His name was Dewey Hopper, and he was a wonderful individual. He used to do all kinds of charitable things. So I convinced him to be on our board, and so together we did a lot of things. And because he was this public figure, he could arrange things to happen for us that I would never have been able to do. And so this particular night, we brought some of our children with leukemia to the game, and then he had arranged for me to go to center ice, and they closed the hockey cage. What is the name of the goalpost? They close that up to just a little hole, and so you're in center ice, and you have to get the puck and make a goal through that little hole. Well, that's almost impossible, because then they would give you money for it. So I was standing there, and I just told the Lord that I needed help because I couldn't do this. I got 9 out of 10 in that goal. And it was just incredible. People were screaming and yelling, and it was really awful. So Dewey went to collect our money, and the guy wasn't going to give it to him because he said, "You dressed sharpshooter up in a nun's costume, and we're not giving you this money." One night we went to the ice capades, and Dewey and I had to go out on the ice and receive our check that they were going to give us. Started to laugh, and I said, "What are you laughing at?" And he said, "I just thought it'd be funny if you fell." And with that, he fell. And I said, "Don't fool with God." Those are some of the things that happened. Of course, going to the rodeo wasn't always our favorite place because, the ground in a rodeo is full of all kinds of things. And so stepping out into the ring at the rodeo wasn't our favorite thing, but we did it because we got some money for it. Each of the places that we did things with gave us a check for the foundation. And we got the publicity, and that was really important because we were so young, we needed to get something to get us going so people would know, because I think if people really know about such an organization, they're willing to give, especially if it's children involved. So that was important. That was worth whatever we could get. And being a TV person, he was able to really promote us in many ways, which was real important. I think that people really need to look at this organization because we're very different than any other organization. The money that they give us goes for the family. It doesn't go out of state. It stays right here. And those children and those families really need that money. And so I think if they give to us, they will totally be blessed by the Lord. Well, by our website, azlfac.org. That's going to be a really big advancement for us to have this wonderful website, and ways in which you can contact us at any time. And people will be happy to let you know